Is Vaishnavi Sanjay and I am the student of MSW first year from the Department of Social Work. So today I am going to present on the topic Professional Associations of Social Work and Analysis of the Literature. So firstly we discussed about the background of the professional development. The first school of social work in the country, Sir Dorabji Tata Graduate School of Social Work, was established in 1936 in Bombay, followed subsequently by two schools of social work under the auspices of the Indian Council of the Social Welfare and many more under the universities in the different parts of the country. The idea of the establishing the professional associations was first mooted by Dr. J.M. Kumarappa, then the director of the Tata Institute of the Social Sciences in 1961. At the annual meeting of the Indian Conference of the Social Work, now known as the Indian Council of Social Welfare, with this the Association of Schools of Social Work in India, ASSWI, was initiated the same year, followed by the establishment of the Indian Association of Alumni of Schools of Social Work, later named as the Indian Association of Trained Social Workers, IATSW. As the very change of the name of the association implied the professional workers hesitated praising for the professional title of the organization to avoid a controversy with the voluntary social workers, who by then became a force to be reckoned with. Analysis of the literature published with the literature on the subject can be classified in 5 sections. So the first, conceptual conflict on the emergence of the profession. Indigenization of the social work education and practices, organizational development aimed at state of the professional associations and a critical analysis. Conceptual conflict on the emergence of the professional. 3 papers on the topic in 1952, 1954 and 1955 appeared in the Indian Journal of the Social Work. Development of the social work profession in India by Nanavati 1952 was based on the characteristics of the profession as given by carries unders, namely the body of knowledge on which the skills resist, reservation of the functions either by listening or restriction to the membership in professional organizations, the development of the professional consequences, development of professional organizations, and the service to the community. In support of some of their requirements, the author had referred to the establishment of the Bureau of Research and a publication by the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and the formation of 2 organizations of social work educators and practitioners, besides various groups of field practitioners in child welfare, family welfare, or community development, labor welfare, tribal welfare, and so on. Provided experiences as well as field studies for the professional development. Nanavati further the evidence that the thanks to the efforts of the Tata Institute of Social Sciences and other schools of social work, the state and the central governments had begun to recognize the contribution of the professional training in social work. He suggested that the professional organizations should undertake an analysis of the functions and a classification of the jobs, laying down qualifications for each type of the jobs, determination of the professional education required for each group of functions, and working out appropriate salaries and remuneration for the different groups of jobs to enable the profession of social work to get developed and recognized by the public. He concluded that by emphasizing the sense of the brotherhood and belonging to the professional organizations for the promotion of the profession of social work in India, Nanavati 1952 in contract S.N. Ranade in his article on social work as a profession 1954 stated that an examination of the professional social work shows that the social work can hardly be considered as a profession in the sense in which, for instance, medicine and engineering are the field of the social work can hardly be circumscribed, and the so-called techniques of social work constitute only an approach to the problems. So this does not minimize the importance of the social work education. Examine in the detail what constituted the techniques, various the fields of social work. He stated that even in the United States of America, it is being realized that the social work knowledge and techniques should enter into the normal professional equipment of educators at all levels. The personal counselors in industry, lawyers, doctors, and nurses, and employment service interviewers. He added that this is especially necessary in the semi-industrialized and underdeveloped countries, where the problems are of a great magnitude and there is a little differentiation and specializations of the functions. It would be both impractical and unnecessary to really define social work functions and confine its practice to a small number of the people, according to him. In a welfare state, the approach of a scientific social work should permit and administrative personnel at all levels and in almost all fields, Ranade in 1954. Another article on professional social work by N. Nanjan 1955, in which the author, using the famous six criteria of the Flexner, noted that one of the characteristics, namely of the professional organizations, was absent and some other developments were controversial in India. This implied that the social work had not become a professional at that time. Nanjan 1955. This conflict in the existence of the profession of the social work in India still haunts many consequentious social workers, especially in the view of the weakening influences of the professional associations of the social work educators and practitioners in the country.